Hi there, welcome to Barre-Elevated. My name is Holly Rivers. You're gonna see Miss Yara coming in and out. She's kind of over in the corner playing right now, but she's gonna probably come in and out with us as well. So that's little Miss Yara. And we are here today. I'm coming to you in my love t-shirt because we are going to do this 30-minute all body kind of workout where we're really working the muscles of our body in a complete, no focus on one area kind of a method. We're using, if you're not familiar with Barre-Elevated, we use ballet, modern dance, and traditional fitness exercises blended in together to create a system that's really about what I like to call challenge with kindness. So that's kind of bringing back into that love aspect of what is challenge with kindness. A lot of times we think about pushing our bodies really hard and we want to go that extra mile, we want to do this, and that's great. We can do that, and we become better and stronger people when we do that. So there is great kindness to ourselves if we are pushing ourselves to be better. Now, there's a flip side of that idea of kindness of relax, be gentle, take it slow, and that's totally true and valid as well. It depends on where your body is and what your body needs. So when we bring this idea of kindness into our bodies, and especially like where is that challenge today? For some people, actually, it's a challenge to let yourself relax. So find that kindness, like find the kindness to challenge yourself to just relax and take it slow. For the others, I want someone who actually has a tendency to need to be pushed a little bit, and so my kindness comes in bringing challenge into my life. So I want to challenge myself, but if I do it with kindness, then I might be able to listen and understand a little bit better. And in my late 30s, I decided to challenge myself with HIIT training, and I would push. I got stronger than I'd been. I'd worked with a personal trainer for a little while, and then I moved into HIIT training classes. And what was interesting about the whole thing is I was getting stronger, and there was this aspect of feeling really good in the workout. Within 30 minutes after the workout, I was exhausted. I couldn't move, or if I could, it was like feeling, I used to describe it as like there was a hole in my gas can and like all of my gas just left my body. It would take me about 48 hours to recover, and next thing you know, I'm back in a HIIT class, and then I'm back on the same cycle again. I also spent the 2 years that I was doing that. Yes, it did take me a while to learn to listen to my body, even though I've been telling people to do it for a long time. I started putting on, I was bloated a lot. I spent a lot of time feeling bloated, and I put on a fair amount of belly fat, and which was really frustrating and ironic to me because I was working harder, I was working longer, I was really pushing myself like I'd never pushed myself before, but I was not listening, and I was not bringing that challenge with kindness. So I still try to do little things like that here and there, but I've started learning my tipping point, like when it is that I'm like, okay, go that extra 10 feet if it's like up a hill, or go that extra like push through a sprint, or whatever it is. I find that moment of being able to say, you got it, and then learning, okay, I'm done. Kindness with challenge, or challenge with kindness. So that's about loving our body. So today, for our workout, it will be helpful if you have a chair, if you need that for balance. You never need a chair. You can do everything that I do in here without support. That is a little bit more of a challenge if you want to do that. Actually, when I do this type of conditioning and training with my dancers, my teenage dancers at my studio, we do not use support. I actually have them work without support. Now, you can have a ball if you want, or something that's kind of nice and firm and between 5 and 6 inches. Just to give you an idea of what you need, it's going to go above or below your knees, whichever place that feels most comfortable for you, and we're going to use it to really engage those inner thighs. And if you want, you can have weights anywhere from 0, no weights, to 5 pounds. I usually stick with 1 to 2 pounds of weight. That's my preference. We are mostly working with smaller muscles, the rotator muscles in the shoulders, and I do have a injured shoulder that I have to be careful of, and I like to use an isometric hold to create that more work instead of weights. So it's up to you on which one you do, but those things will be helpful in this workout. You can go grab those, and let's get started. Okay, so here we are. We are going to be on the floor, but sitting upright. So I'm going to sit facing you to start, and you can either sit crisscross applesauce, or if you want to sit in more of this position, this is what we use in a dance class a lot, and I think yoga uses it quite a bit as well. You can flatten your shins toward the floor. That works as well. I'm going to actually just choose to sit in that crisscross. I'm going to turn this side so you can see what we're doing. We're going to start with our core activation, or a core activation, and we're going to use what we call the contract release that is from modern dance. Now, if you've done cat-cow, it's very similar. So you can think about this position that we're doing on the floor. The difference is with cat-cow, you're curving so much here that you're letting the shoulders come down. So if you see that, what happens? We're thinking about lengthening that spine. So I want you to think about growing the spine up toward the ceiling. Take a breath. Feel it growing. You can close your eyes if you want to. Imagine a little bit of space between every single vertebra down your back, as if you're growing toward the ceiling. Now from here, take a deep breath in and exhale. We're going to think about that long spine. We're going to take the very center of the back here, right there, and we're going to pull toward that back wall. We're going to keep that nice long spine. Look at my hips. I've got a nice little curl in my hips too. I'm using that pelvic floor. Deep contraction in the pelvic floor. Activate those pee and poo muscles. Release, and then let yourself grow toward the front. So now we are letting our ribs open. You can let your ribs release here. And activate and pull back behind you. And release. Use that pelvic floor to rock your hips back and forth. So I'm contracting that pelvic floor. My pelvic floor is still engaged to help my spine grow up and out of my hips. And then to the back, and to the front, and to the back. So manipulating that curvature of the spine a little bit, but finding the space in all of the vertebrae. Yara came in to show us how to do it, I'm sure. She's like, y'all don't know how to do a cat stretch. I know how to do a cat stretch. We're going to do one more cycle. And release. And bring it back. All right, come down to your back. I need to move my chair out of the way a little bit. So this is a position I start in a lot. I want us to take a deep breath. And release. Feel how we might feel different after doing that contraction and release. And now where we were letting ourselves curl into the spine and release to the spine, now we want to find that neutral spine, and we want to keep it there. So we're going to wrap the corset around the spine. What I mean by that is if you tap your belly, you're going to want to contract your abdominals. So that contraction, that response to being hit is what you want. So you want to think about this really engaging around the spine. I'm not necessarily asking you to pull in, so we're not pulling in toward each other. We're just creating a strong base around, holding those organs in place, holding those hips in place. Relax the shoulders, neck, and jaw down. We should draw those ribs into each other. So you should start to feel some heat building as you do this, as we move into this isometric hold. Wrap that corset, knit those ribs together. You're going to activate those intercostal muscles of the ribs, the upper diaphragm, and the lower diaphragm, and all of the muscles in between. This is a really important position to have. So take a moment to feel that. Place the hands on your hips. We're not going to let our hips move as we pick one foot up, and then we're going to take it back down. And then we're going to pick the other foot up. So as you use that engagement of the core to hold your spine, to hold your hips in place, they're not moving, only your legs are moving. You're creating a contralateral contraction across the pelvic floor. Relax the shoulders, neck, and jaw. Keep going. Really think deep into those hips. Feel what's happening there. We're going to do 2 more sets. Your breath is going to feel a little shallow. That's okay. And 1 more. And last leg. And bring it down. Okay, from here, keep holding those ribs, keep holding that core. So we're keeping this isometric hold going. Still working, still building up that heat. We're going to think about relaxing the shoulders. As we do, you're going to lift the head just a little bit. Think about a long cervical spine here. We're not going to crunch the chin toward the chest. We're actually going to just lift up and take it down. Now, as we do that, we're going to start with our hands up in the air, and our arms are going to go back on that upper diagonal. So it means that our head and our arms are essentially coming together. So we're going to go up and take it back down. Again. Again. You might start to feel a little bit of stuff happening in your deep abdominals into that pelvic floor area. And then you start to imagine that, yes, it is like dominoes. When you work one part of your body, you're going to have the effect ripple through the rest. We've got 2 more. And our last one. And down. And give yourself a little bit of a neck massage. That's not something we normally do, so you might have felt a little bit more than normal. Now pick the knees up, hug them into your chest. We're going to rock from side to side, let that lower back release. And it's time to come up to standing. All right, so here we go. If you would like to have your chair or some other support, you're welcome to do so. You never have to have that. So you can do all of these exercises without a support, without a bar, so to speak. And that's what we call center floor work, and it's a way to take it to the next level. So if you don't want a chair, don't grab a chair, but if you would like to have that little bit extra, you certainly can. I am going to work in a diagonal position. You work however you want to, but I want you to be able to see kind of what's happening in my side body and see the front as well. So you get a little bit of both. And you're going to want to have your ball nearby. So for me, it's nice and convenient to place it on this chair. Wherever you can put your ball, you can grab it easily. That's fabulous. All right, so first thing, we're going to actually grab that ball. And we are going to place it between our legs. So you can place it either above your knees or below your knees, whichever one feels comfortable. This is one of my slightly bigger balls. It's a 6-inch, and so I'm going to put it below my knees. It feels a little more comfortable there, but that depends on you and the width of your hips. We are going to bring our legs into where we're really squeezing into that ball. You should feel those inner thighs, those adductor muscles really engaging, right? We're going to lift up those kneecaps. We're going to engage the bottom of the glutes. We're going to wrap that core around the spine, knit those ribs together, shoulders are down the back. Weights a little bit into the balls of the feet. We're going to bend those knees. Now, if you would like to take this a little bit further, grab a hold of your weights and take them out to the side. But you don't have to do that. Or you can hold your arms out to the side just by themselves. And from here, we're going to pulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We go again. We're doing these nice, slow movements. A lot of times we think we have to go really fast to challenge ourselves, and sometimes slow can hurt so much more. Last one, pause here. You can stay and repeat in the feet flat on the floor position, or you can lift your heels just slightly, or take the heels all the way off the floor. We go again, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Notice I'm not sticking my hips out. I'm engaging that core. I'm really wrapping and knitting those ribs together. All this is really engaged. Shoulder blades are down the back. Another set. And we're going to pause here. I want you to straighten your legs. So whether you're flat or on your toes, straighten those legs. Now, if you are flat-footed and you feel like you can start to rise at least a little bit off the floor, do so. We're going to find a balance here. So we're going to either just take our hands off of our support, that would be just fine. Or if you really like the hands at the heart position, you're welcome to do that. Or you can take your arms up and over your head. So if your arms are out to the side, bring them up to get a little bit different of a work. Draw those ribs together. Shoulder blades are down the back. We call this high fifth or up on O. Lots of things Lots of ways to say things in ballet terminology. Depends on who you talk to. Ooh, find that balance. There we go. That's why we have support sometimes. And we're going to take it down. Go ahead and bend through the legs to release the Achilles tendon and come up. So a lot of times we always end a releve in a plie because we want to lengthen that back out. All right, we're going to rotate out. I'm going to place my ball. I'm going to want to put it to where I can get it again because I'll use it at the end of this exercise. If you can't do that, that's fine. Remember, you don't even have to have a ball. All right, we're going to lift up those kneecaps. We have the weight and the balls of the feet. We're really bringing the lower glutes in together. Wrap that corset knit the ribs, shoulder blades are down the back. Open those knees over the toes. What I mean by that is keep the hips above the heels and make sure that your knees don't fold in so they're opening out. And we're gonna do that nice slow pulse here. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We go again. So there's this joke that dancers can't count over 8. I say that too many times, but it's funny. 2 more. Last one. Hold here. Stay and repeat in this position or rise up onto the toes, either just that far off the floor or all the way up into forced starch. And pulse here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and hold 8. Now straighten those legs. If you're not lifted out of your heels, go ahead and bring your heels up off the floor just a little bit or all the way up into what we call eleve. And we're going to find our balance. Either just take your hands off. If that feels comfortable, take your hands to your heart space or bring your arms up into that high 5th or up on O. Some people got 5th on O. So many things. Think about everything lengthening up and out of the floor. So sometimes I think about my bones are growing away from the floor, and you're going to engage your muscles a little bit more when you see it and think about it in that way. Wrap that corset into those ribs, find that balance, and plie to release and come in. Shake it out. You can come and get on top of your toes a little bit to stretch those toes out. Take them in the other direction, a different kind of flexion. And we're going to do one more aspect of this exercise. Still in that turned out position, lift up those kneecaps, really bring those glutes in and together, wrap the corset into the ribs, shoulders down the back. We're going to open those knees, weights into the balls of the feet. You can stay here and repeat what we just did, or you can lift up into your toes. We're going to bring those feet closer together. Press the heels into each other. You should feel a little bit more engagement in those inner thighs, and here we go again. We've got 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last one, 8. Okay. So if you can grab your ball or take a pause, grab your ball, come back, and we are going to move into the parallel. So if your feet are flat on the floor, just shift around how you need to, and you're going to place the ball back where it was at the beginning of this exercise. Squeeze it in, and one final set of pulses. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're going to go ahead and lower the heels. We're going to straighten. We're going to place that ball. Whoops. Oh, there goes the ball. I don't need it anymore, so we're done. We're going to take that over to the side. Stretch those toes out just a little bit. We're going to grab those weights. You don't have to have weights if you don't want them, but grab them if you do. So we have that parallel position, closed first is what we call it sometimes. But we're actually going to go into a yoga position called chair pose. we're gonna want to think about squeezing those hips together. So if these were my legs, I'm actually pushing them into each other. So those legs are closing. Think about zipping up the midline. We're gonna take our arms behind us and lengthen them, press through as if you were playing around and showing your muscles in the mirror. We're gonna actually press the eye of the elbow, contract those arms, lift them a little bit behind the hips, squeeze those legs together, wrap that corset, knit the rib shoulder down, blades are down the back. We're gonna bend the knees and bring the chest forward just slightly. We let the hips scooch back as we do that for chair pose. And now pulse the arms. 1, 2, nice and slow. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and go again. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Hold it here. We're gonna bend, curl in, and press it back. And 2, press it back, and 3, press away, 4, press it back, 5. Remember, a lot of the work comes from the contraction. You actually don't even need weights if you create that strong contraction in the arms the whole time. We've got last one, and press it away, and release. And coming up, we're gonna rotate to that turned out position, weights in the balls of the feet. Lift up those kneecaps, bring those glutes together, wrap the corset, knit the rib shoulders down the back. We have bent arms. You can take it a little bit wider if you want. And we're gonna bend the knees. Make sure you lift the elbows and the wrist in line with the shoulders, keeping that shape the whole time. Here we go. We've got 1 and up and 2, up and 3 and 4. And 5, 6, and 7. Last one, 8. And release that. We're going to open up into a wider, this is what we call second position. Weight into the balls of the feet. Lift those kneecaps, wrap the corset, knit the ribs. Shoulders are down the back. Bring those glutes a little bit together as we bring the arms forward. Take them over the head. Keep those shoulders down. So if you're up here, draw the shoulders down, bring those ribs in, open up into goalpost arms. If you would like, you can face your weights, the palms of your hands, so to speak, toward your head, or bring them toward the front. Either way, press to the ceiling. We got 1. Don't let your elbows drop below your shoulders. 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, last one, 8. And bring it down. All right, bring your feet back in. So we're not going to be in that original parallel with the closed first. We're going to be in a slightly open first. So open first position parallel, where we did our plies earlier. We're going to have the weight in the balls of the feet, lift those kneecaps, wrap the corset into the ribs, bring those glutes together. And we're going to bring our arms into that 90 degrees again. This time we're going to take that shape, lift it up toward the front. We're going to plie as we open our arms. 1. Now close. 2. And 3. And 4. And 5. 6. 7. Last one. 8. Bring it in. I want to take it up. Open, rotate as you lower down, and bring it to the close. All right, place the weights down to the side. We're gonna finish with a stretching series. I'm gonna turn to the side so you can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna grab this just to kind of hang on to. You don't need it. I'm gonna take the one foot behind, press the heel on the floor, bend that front knee, really press through the backs of the legs. So my extended leg to the back is contracted. So I have that isometric stretch here. Make sure that your hips are square, meaning that if I were to draw a line across and shoot lasers out, I would make a, well, more like a rectangle with the wall. Think about the spine growing nice and long. Breathe through this. We finally get to release those rib cages. And release, bring that foot forward just a little bit. Flex the front foot. We're gonna place the weight in the back foot again. Now we're gonna bend. Let the hips come back as we lean forward over that flexed, contracted front leg. Again, we want to keep those hips square, so we're not going to let our hips get wonky from side to side. Try to make a rectangle with the wall. And release that. We're going to put the weight forward. Now this one you might need a modification for. If you have knee problems, I'm going to pick up that back foot and I'm going to let the knee press down, making sure it comes in and toward that other knee, opening up that front hip here. So we don't want it out to the side, we want it drawn in. I can switch to the other one, get a little bit more out of it. If this hurts, you stay in yours. I'm going to come out of mine for a second. But if you need a modification, this is also just fine. So if you have knee problems, you can have it here. Just make sure you're open. Make sure you're really thinking about lengthening through this front hip and into the quadricep. Whatever works for you. Remember, challenge with kindness. And release that. I'm going to turn around so that you can see what I'm doing. From here, you have that leg still in that parallel position. Pick up the same leg you were just working. You're going to cross it above the knee, flex the foot, open out this bent knee, and then we're going to sit into the hips here. We want to keep that knee open. We want to keep that foot nice and flexed, and we're keeping those hips square, so don't let yourself get a little wonky here either. Y'all like my technical term, wonky? It's my fave. Catty-wonkered is really my best. Lengthen through the spine. We are engaged in that core here, so you want to think about that pelvic floor is holding those hips. And come up. We're going to do it on the other side. Take that other leg back behind you, press it into the floor, bring yourself front, lengthen through that back leg while you're pressing the heel. So remember, we're pressing through the back, then you press through that heel. Nice strong legs. Wow, we get a little stretch down the back of the leg. I have super flexible Achilles tendons, so you might not touch your heel to the floor. That's okay, just reach it toward the floor. And weight on that front leg, straighten it, bring that back leg in just slightly. Weights on the back leg again, flex that front foot. Nice and strong flex here. We're going to pull those hips back as we lean forward over that front leg, keeping that nice strong hold as we stretch through it. Keep those hips square, we call it. And release that. We're going to pick up that back leg. We're going to hold on to it. Again, you can switch to the other side if you prefer that. Just try to make sure that the knees are in line with each other. Make your modification. If you need a modification, please take care of your knees. They're so important. And release through. Find that standing leg is still in a parallel. It's the same standing leg we just had. We're going to take that leg that was just bent, cross it over, cross the ankle above that knee, open up that bent knee to the side, keeping these hips nice and square. Make sure you have nice strong abdominals here as we fold over and bring those hips back behind us. And release and come up. And I'm going to get my chair out of the way. We're gonna come into a comfortable parallel position, really ground into the floor. We're gonna take the arms out to the side. I want you to lengthen through the spine. We're gonna try to keep our hips above our ankles as we bring ourselves forward. Think about a growing long spine as we come into what's called a flat back, best you can. Has to do with flexibility in your hamstrings. And then we're gonna fold ourselves all the way over. Let the head drop toward the floor. You can shake it from side to side if you need to. Now from here you have two options. You can return to your flat back and come up if that feels better. So you can come out of yourself and out of your hips. Or you can bend your knees and think about your sacrum bone is going to reach toward the floor as you upright your hips. As you upright your hips, you're going to stack one vertebrae on top of each other. My shoulders are relaxed. My head is relaxed. And then eventually my shoulders fall into place. My head comes up and I have arrived. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to do another one. So are you. We're going to close our practice with our palms coming to the top, bringing it down to the heart. The yogis don't get to keep that. It's for everyone. Closing our practice, I hope that you feel better, stay active, and age with grace.